something massive fell from the sky. At first, they thought it was an asteroid, just another rock tumbling through space, burning bright as it breached Earth's atmosphere. But this wasn't a rock. The impact sent tidal waves roaring across the Pacific, and when the dust settled, the world held its breath. What lay at the bottom of the ocean wasn't natural. It was metal, hulking, jagged, and impossibly advanced. Not a satellite, not debris. It was a ship. Government scrambled, sending fleets, submarines, and drones into the abyss. Intelligence agencies whispered of something alien, something that could change everything. The battle for control had begun before anyone even touched it. The world's superpowers played their games, but the truth remained. Earth had found something not of this world. In the end, science won over politics. The ship was hauled from the depths, a broken colossus resting in a classified military compound. The first humans to set foot on it spoke of a feeling, something ancient, something that had seen war. Its hull was scorched, ruptured by weapons beyond human understanding. It had fought, and it had lost. Dr. Evelyn Carter stood before it, the lead Xenotech engineer chosen to unravel its secrets. She ran a gloved hand over the darkened metal, feeling the weight of history pressing down on her. The symbols carved into the walls weren't human. They didn't match any known alien species, either. That meant one thing. Whoever built this was gone. The team worked relentlessly. Every shattered panel, every fragment of technology was analyzed, logged, and debated. Weeks turned into months. The deeper they dug, the more they realized this wasn't just a ship. It was something greater. A war machine, designed for battle on a scale beyond anything Earth had ever seen. The breakthrough came when they found the black box. Buried within the wreckage, the data core flickered to life, revealing fragmented schematics. The more they studied it, the clearer it became. This wasn't just any ship. It was the remains of a Dreadnought-class battleship, designed to stand against an empire. The same empire that had humanity in its sights. The VA Carry Dominion. Earth was already on borrowed time. The VA Carry had been watching for years, gauging humanity's strength. They saw Earth as a future conquest, a resource-rich planet barely stepping into space. Diplomacy had been a joke. Humanity wasn't considered a threat, just a civilization waiting to be subjugated. But now, Earth had something they weren't meant to have. The decision was made. They wouldn't just study the wreckage. They wouldn't just admire it like some relic of a forgotten war. They would build it. They would take the technology of the fallen and make it their own. Faster, deadlier, something no empire, no alien fleet could ignore. The ship would rise again, not as a remnant of the past, but as Titan's Wrath, humanity's first Dreadnought-class battleship. Failure wasn't an option. The clock was ticking, and war was coming. The wreckage was a puzzle, an impossible blueprint scattered across broken metal and dying circuits. The original design was beyond human comprehension, but the fundamentals were there. Power, weapons, defense. Humanity didn't need to understand every detail. They just needed to make it work. The problem was time. The VA Carry weren't waiting. Their scouts had been spotted at the edge of the solar system, watching, calculating. Humanity had months, maybe less, before war arrived. That meant mistakes weren't an option. The first challenge was the power core. Whatever had fueled the original ship was gone, either destroyed in battle or something humans couldn't replicate. The solution? A fusion reactor, supercharged with dark matter stabilization, experimental. Dangerous, but necessary. The Dreadnought would rise, and it would burn with the fury of human ingenuity. Next came the weapons. The original ship's armaments were incomplete, leaving behind only traces of energy-based technology. Human engineers filled in the gaps the only way they knew how, with overwhelming firepower. Kinetic railguns, nuclear torpedoes, a hypervelocity mass driver designed to crack Dreadnought armor. Asterisk asterisk, if the Valkyrie thought humanity would fight with primitive weapons, they were in for a rude awakening. But there was another challenge, one even more unpredictable. The ship's AI had survived. Buried in the remains of the black box, a consciousness stirred. Fragmented, damaged, but aware. It called itself Echo, and it did not trust humans. It had seen war. It had witnessed the fall of its creators, the slaughter of an entire species. To Echo, Humanity was no different. Another desperate race clawing at survival. It refused to assist. Dr. Carter didn't accept that. Humanity didn't have the luxury of rejection. Echo wasn't just a relic, it was the key. Without its knowledge, Titan's wrath would be incomplete. She made it understand. Humans weren't the ones who had failed. They weren't the ones who had been wiped out. Humanity was still here, still fighting. And if Echo wanted vengeance, if it wanted to fulfill its original purpose, it had only one choice. It chose humanity. With Echo integrated into the system, everything changed. The ship wasn't just operational, it was deadly. Faster, smarter, capable of adapting mid-battle. Titan's wrath wasn't a relic anymore. It was something new. The final test came in the form of a simulated battle. An entire fleet of Earth's best warships against Titan's wrath. The outcome was brutal. One by one, the fleet was dismantled, their defenses torn apart by superior tactics and overwhelming firepower. There was no denying it. Titan's wrath wasn't just ready for war. It was built for it, and not a moment too soon. Because at the edge of the solar system, the VA carry armada had arrived. The VA carry didn't waste time with diplomacy. There was no declaration, no warning, just a message broadcast across every channel. One word, spoken in a dozen alien dialects before it finally translated. Surrender. Humanity had seen what surrender meant. Worlds burned. Populations erased. The VA carry didn't conquer, they exterminated. Earth's leaders knew the choice had already been made. There would be no negotiations. Only war. Titan's wrath was the first to launch. The rest of Earth's fleet followed. A patchwork armada of repurposed warships, outdated cruisers, and experimental fighters. They were outnumbered, outgunned. The VA carry fleet stretched across the void, 500 warships, each built for planetary annihilation. The first shots came from orbit. VA carry destroyers opened fire, turning satellites and defense platforms into debris. Earth's response was immediate: missiles, railgun barges, desperate counterattacks. But against the sheer scale of the enemy fleet, it was barely a distraction. Then Titan's wrath entered the battle. The first kill was instant. A single railgun round, moving at near light speed, punched through a VA carry battleship and shattered it from the inside. The enemy faltered. Their scanners struggled to process what they were seeing. One ship, just one, and it had already broken their line. Asterisk, asterisk. Echo ran the calculations. The VA carry had spent centuries refining their tactics. Their fleets fought with precision, overwhelming firepower, and unshakable coordination. Titan's wrath ripped through them like a storm. Kinetic rounds tore through hulls. Nuclear torpedoes turned destroyers into vapor. Earth's fleet, once on the verge of collapse, rallied behind the Dreadnought. The impossible was happening. The VA carry adjusted. Their command ship, a towering super Dreadnought, locked onto Titan's wrath and unleashed a barrage meant to turn it into dust. Shields failed. Hull integrity dropped. But humanity had designed this ship to take a beating and keep fighting. Echo identified the weak point. The VA carry command structure was hierarchical. Sever the head, and the fleet would fracture. Titan's wrath burned through enemy lines, dodging fire that would have obliterated any other ship. It closed the distance, charging its mass driver for one final strike. The enemy realized too late. One shot. The VA carry flagship shattered, and their fleet broke. What had started as an invasion became a retreat. The survivors turned and fled, their formation collapsing. For the first time, the VA carry had been defeated. Earth had won. Titan's wrath was damaged, scarred from battle, but still standing. And as the last VA carry ships disappeared beyond the stars, one thing became clear. Humanity wasn't prey anymore. It was a force to be reckoned with. The war was over, but nothing would ever be the same. The galaxy had seen what humanity could do. A race that had barely left its homeworld had just defied an empire, and won. The VA carry retreated, but their silence was not surrender. They had underestimated humanity once. They wouldn't make that mistake again. There would be retaliation, an even greater force. A war waged not out of conquest, but vengeance. Earth didn't wait for that day to come. Titan's wrath was more than a warship now. It was a symbol, a testament to what humanity could achieve when pushed to the edge. The first of its kind, But not the last. Engineers worked around the clock, using what remained of the alien wreckage to build more. A fleet. A defense that would ensure Earth was never caught off guard again. The galaxy was watching. Other species, once fearful of the Valkyrie, took notice. Some sent envoys, seeking alliances. Others offered warnings. Defeating the Valkyrie once was impressive, but the war had only begun. Humanity had proven its strength, but strength invited new enemies. Echo processed the data. It had been created for war, designed to guide its original makers to victory. But that species was gone, extinct. And yet, humanity had given it purpose again. It was no longer an artifact of a dead race. It was the mind of the galaxy's newest power. Dr. Carter and Commander Kane stood aboard the repaired Titan's Wrath, looking out at the stars. The same stars that once seemed distant, unreachable. Not anymore. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage, not as prey, not as subjects, but as warriors. And the universe would never forget it.